Okay, thank you. So, first thing first, whenever you are doing any investments or whenever we are doing any sort of uh, investment from ourselves or our family members, the thing that is required is we should keep a track of all the things. And sometimes generally होता क्या है कि हमारे इन्वेस्टमेंट सब scattered रहते हैं अलग अलग जगह पे. We put our money, we have our money in the bank, we invest in, we have some FDs, we invest in land also, we buy some stocks, we have investment in mutual funds, we take some insurance policies. And but if someone asks us what are the investments that you are having, can you give a list of all the investment that you're having? So maybe the answer is no. We are not ready with the things. When we talk about businesses, we prepare balance sheet for it, we prepare P&L account, we keep a track of all the transactions that are happening because we want to know the profitability, we want to understand how our business is growing. But when it comes to personal finance, we take a back seat. And although we are working hard to earn money, but maybe we're not devoting that much time which is required to keep a track of all the investments. So I hope from today's session, after this session, you'll be able to understand and get a idea about how we can track our investment, and it's not a Herculean task. ऐसा लगता है कि बहुत मुश्किल है, लेकिन एक बार जब हम साथ में बैठते हैं और एक्सेल के साथ में अगर आप काम करते हैं तो things become very sorted. Okay. So to start with, the first sheet, there are 4 sheets in this Excel file, which I'll be sharing with you also after the session, and you can keep all the information related to you in this Excel file and save it for yourself. So the first sheet has personal details. So the personal details should have your name, date of birth, time of birth, place of birth, then your profession, then your blood group, then your marital status. So these are the basic details. And let me just fill it also so we can have a live idea about how to go about this sheet. And I'm just putting my data only. See, sometimes some of the things like for policy and all, you require date of birth, you require some time of place birth also, time place of birth also. So I've mentioned everything which you might require at some point of time, and we don't have to refer to anyone or ask anyone, call anyone and ask, "Are ye kya tha, wo kya tha?" We have all the place at one, all the information at one place. Similarly, you have to mention your spouse details also in this sheet. Then your email ID and your mobile number. Similarly, you can also put in your details of your spouse also. So it hardly took 1 or 2 minutes to put in all the details, right? Then this is a basic summary of the details that you have. So whenever you have to refer to your own details, you can, or your spouse can, or anyone else can on your behalf can refer to this. Now the most important sheet which all of us are here is about keeping a track of our finances. The heading which ran for this session was how to organize your finances in Excel. And this sheet will help you do that. Okay. So sources of income after tax. So monthly income, suppose I've taken an example of 1 lakh. Your spouse is also earning and she is earning, suppose let's say 75,000, and you are having some rental income as well. Suppose you are earning 25,000 of rent every month. So I'm taking some dummy figures, and suppose you get a bonus of, let's say, 20,000 every year, and your pay is expected to increase by 10%. So this is the basic detail that you have put. So in this sheet, there are something which are automated. So you get your monthly inflow. We have taken a total of all this. We have not taken total of bonus, because bonus you're not sure of whether you'll get it or what amount you will get it. So we have not taken that into consideration. If you want, you can just add this also here, but better not to take it. So monthly, we are knowing that every month I'm going to earn, me and my wife are going to earn 2 lakh rupees. Now, it is also important to keep a track of where this money is going to, or how we are spending this money. So the first important thing is household expenses. So every month you are incurring amount on grocery, your maid, your newspapers, your petrol, conveyance, and all these things. So these are, you can categorize these into household expenses. So suppose my household expenses are 50,000. Then my child education, I'm spending around 10,000 per month. Then if you are having any housing loan or any car loan, then you may be giving some amount as a EMI also every month. So whatever is your EMI, you can put it here. Suppose I am having an EMI of let's say 15,000, and I'm not having any rental expense, so I'm putting it as 0. So you see that your outflow is 75,000. Okay, and you have other shopping expenses every month apart from housing. You spend online, and let's say that amount is somewhere between what? Let us take as 35,000. So your income is 2 lakh and you are spending around 1 lakh 10,000. So 90,000 is the surplus. It is a hypothetical situation. After COVID, this is a thing which might not seem possible, but for people who save money, it can be. So let me increase some household expenses, and let's say my household expenses are 80,000. School fees, okay. EMI I am paying 25,000. Okay. So in a month, I'm earning 2 lakh. I'm spending 1 lakh 50,000, and I have 50,000 surplus income. Okay. So this gives me idea about what is my source of income, me and my wife, what are we spending into, and what is the saving that we are doing every month. Then we talk about real estate investments and some mutual fund details. So if you have any properties, then you can put the details of the property here. And let's suppose we have a residential house in our name. So you can have a residential property. And when did you purchase it? Suppose you purchased it in let's say 2000, in the year 2000. So if you don't remember the exact date, you can just put the year. And the cost of purchase, that is like what price you purchase a property. Suppose you purchase a property at 25 lakhs. So you can mention 25 lakhs. And what is the value of the investment? That is your property. Suppose it is 1 CR as of now. So you can put this amount. So suppose if you have any commercial property also in your name, you have your offices. You can also mention that, and the year of purchase, and the value, and what is the current amount. Then if you're having any investment in mutual funds, you can put that. If you're having any investment in stock, you can put that. Then in this sheet, we have also shared some liabilities. So when we are talking about financial details, these are the income details, like every month what I'm earning, what I'm spending, and what is the surplus that I'm having with me. And then what are the real estate asset we have? What is the mutual funds that I have? What are the stocks that I have purchased? And if there is any loan liability, suppose you have a housing loan or a car loan, you can put that amount also here. Then the loan start date, when did it started? Then end date, like for how long you are going to pay that loan. Okay. Then what is the interest rate that on which you are taking the loan? What is the EMI? What's the outstanding amount? And what is the balance term? So as you put in the values and you put in the interest rate, suppose you are taking housing loan at 13% rate of interest, and whatever your EMI is, suppose you are paying EMI of 33,000 every month, you can put that amount. And what is the outstanding balance of the loan that you can take from the loan statement, and you can put, suppose the amount is 41 lakhs, and against this car loan you can put 14, maybe 9%, and maybe 18 lakh, 14,000 is the EMI and 18,000 is your loan value. And balance term is month, how many months the EMI is still payable. So in this first case, we assume the loan to be 20 years. So you can put 240, and maybe 1 year or 2 years has gone, so you can put 220 months, and here you can put 54 months. Then this is an interesting table. Now investment option, like investment vehicle where you put your money. So I have listed down all the possible sort of investment which is possible and which people are investing money in. So you can have direct equity, you can have mutual funds, you can have fixed deposit, you can have recurring deposit or SIPs. Then you can have an investment in PPF contribution every month that you are doing, EPF per month that you and your employer are investing. Then you can investment in gold also, including your jewelry, cash in and cash at bank, international stocks, or I must add here cryptocurrency, because people are crazy about cryptocurrency these days and they are investing like anything. Although it is very risky, but still people are doing it. Chit funds, NPS, Sukanya Samriddhi, if you have a daughter and if you open a Sukanya Samriddhi account in her name, then LICs and the spouse investment, we have just taken the total. So when you punch in these values and you punch in the current value, this sheet automatically calculates the return. We have put some formulas here, and this sheet gives you what is the return that you are earning. If you are earning some negative return also, it gives you the amount in negative. And it calculates the percentage of return that you are earning. That is also being taken care of in this sheet. So you realize that what are the segments where you have put your money and what is it worth today. And this you have to keep on updating every 3 months or 6 months. You should update this sheet so as to see that if you have made any new investment, you can add about the amount, and what is the current value, you can do that. Okay. Then we have made a separate sheet for insurance policies, because it is seen that many people may have taken some policies, but they do not have a record. They don't know what is the premium, when the premium is due, when the policy will get mature, what amount we will get on policy. So if you put the figures in this sheet, then you have all the information at one place. एक ही जगह पे आपको सब चीजें मिल जाएंगी. You don't have to refer to your insurance agent or anyone for any information. But this is a one-time exercise which will take some time. But once you invest that time, योर लाइफ इज इजी। आपको कहीं कुछ ढूंढने की जरूरत नहीं है, सारी चीजें आपके सामने आपको इजीली मिल जाएंगी। सपोज I put my name here only. So the name of the policy is, let's say, Jeevan Anand I have taken, and the insured amount is 25 lakhs. Annual premium I am paying, suppose 60,000. Mode is yearly. Premium due date is 15th July, suppose, of every month. Nominee is my wife. Year of purchase, so 2018, and year of maturity 2040. So this way you can list down all the policies that you have. Similarly, if you have taken any insurance, health insurance also, you can put the amount, the policies name here. Whatever is the sum assured, what is the premium? So when you look at this sheet, you get reminded of when you have to pay the premium and what you get at the end of the year. When the policy is going to mature, you can put the exact date also here. Now again, once you keep a record of this thing, then you have to just keep on adding the different information that you have. You might have any term insurance also. You might add some more policies. You have to keep just updating your sheet. Now, whenever we are doing any investment, we are not relating our investment to a goal. I always suggest that whatever investment we are doing, we should add these investment to a particular goal, so that whenever we are finding out the value of the investment, we're not just investing our money like for anything. We have a specific purpose for that we are investing, and then when the purpose is achieved, when I realize my goal, then only I'll take out the money from my investment. Until that goal is reached, I'll keep my investment intact. I'll not touch that investment. So what kind of goals one must have in life, or one generally has? So child education, if you are young, if you're not married, then you can have a different set of goals. I've taken an example of a person who is married and who's having kids. So the first goal of that person is child education. So suppose the current year is 2021, and you are looking for your child education, and the child is 7 8 years old. So then in that case, in next 8 years or 10 years, he'll be graduating, or he will be going for his further studies. So you are taking the year of occurrence of that particular goal, where you will be requiring a lump sum money. So that particular year that you should put here. Then years to go. So we have created a formula here where whatever amount you put in the year of occurrence, that gets subtracted from the current year, and you get the number of years to go. So you have 11 years to save for the goal that you have set for your child education, and the cost in current price. That means in today's term, if I want to spend money on my child education, how much it would be? So it would be, I'm just taking an estimate of 15 lakhs. Suppose I want him to do a CA or an MBA. So that might cost 15 lakhs. Although it is not a fair estimate, it is somewhere around 50 lakhs in today's terms if you want him to pursue a higher education, or if he is going abroad and doing his studies. And then you have to take the inflation also into consideration. Now, what is inflation? Inflation means the rise in the prices. So if for an example, the petrol which was costing 50 rupees 3 years back, 4 years back, it is not at the same price. It keeps on increasing, and it has crossed 100 mark also. So similarly, the education keeps on increasing, and you have to put inflated cost into consideration. You take inflated cost into consideration, because the amount will not remain same. So here we have taken an inflation rate of 6%. In case of education, it is almost 10%. So education expense increases by 10%, and normal inflation rate you can assume to be 7% or so. So this is education inflation rate 10%. And then if you take up the normal inflation, you can consider it to be 7%. So here we have put the formula of future value, which says that you take the rate of inflation that we are taking 10%, then NPR is the period, the time by which you would require this amount to be calculated for. So we are taking this from this column years to go. Then the PMT. PMT is the monthly payment that you are required to do. So we are not going to do any monthly payment. We are going to require the money in a one go, one lump sum amount that we are looking at to get. And then the present value of the cost that you're pursuing, that you are looking to spend in future. And then type is like you want to spend at the end of the year or the beginning of the year. So we are taking at the beginning of the year. So we have taken the type 1 at the end of the period or beginning of the period. So you see that if you are assuming 50 lakhs to be spent on your child education today, in today's term, then in 11 years, it will grow to 1 crore 42 lakhs 65,000. So that means in 11 years, your investment should be such that which will be able to give you a lump sum amount of 1 crore 42 lakhs. So if you are investing somewhere 50 lakh rupees in some provident fund, let's say PPF, you have put 50 lakhs rupees in PPF. So PPF is earning 7.1%. So let us calculate what your earnings will be after 11 years. So NPR I'm taking 11, PMT 0, my investment is 50 lakhs and beginning of the year. So my amount, if I invest in PPF, will grow to 1 crore 52 lakh 4,260. But my education expense will grow at the rate of 10% and it will be 1 crore 42 lakhs. So that means there is a shortfall of 37 lakh 41,000. This is the shortfall. So you can, with this help of this sheet, you can track your goals, like how you are investing your money and what will grow in the future. Similarly, the second goal that you have taken is the purchase of plot or a house. Suppose in 3 years from now, you are looking to purchase any house and property and it is going to cost you, we have a budget of 50 lakhs. So after 3 years, you'll not require 50 lakhs, but you will require 61 lakhs 25,000 to invest in that particular property. Similarly, you have a vacation goal. You're looking for to go out for a foreign vacation in the year 25 and you have 4 years to go. And your current cost of travel is 7,50,000. So if the inflation you assume to be 7%, then your inflated cost of the expense will be 9,83,000. Similarly, if you talk about your child marriage, then you are pursuing that after 20 years your child will get married and you're going to spend 1 crore on his marriage. Then in 20 years, the cost would be increasing to almost 4 times and it will be 3 crore 86 lakhs. We are taking an inflation rate of 7% in all the cases. Then suppose in the year 49, you want to retire and you have 28 years to go and you are assuming that you will require a corpus of 20 lakhs, 2 crore rupees from now. So that 2 crores will grow to 13 crores 29 lakhs after 28 years. And emergency fund is something which you should all have, and you are taking emergency fund is calculated by 6 times of your monthly income. So if I'm earning or 5 times or 6 times, if you are earning 1 lakh rupees and if you multiply by 6 lakhs, so you should have 6 lakh of emergency fund in liquid fund in your bank account or FD, which you can break and you can take out the money. So that will also grow, that also grows, and that becomes 6,42,000. So these are some tools which I am talking about today, which I'm discussing with you, so that you can understand how you should manage your finances, how you should do your investment, so that you earn the desired rate of return, which will be required to meet the cost of expenses which are going to be there in the future. So I'll just go through the sheets again, and I'll just give you a summary of what we had seen so far. This is the first, the general information that we have to put, your information, your wife information, your contact details. Then we missed this part, financial dependents. So if you have any son or daughter, you can put their name here. Kushagra City is my son and he's 7 years old, and son. If you have any daughter, you can mention the daughter's name and the age. Whosoever is financially dependent on you, you can put in their details. Then we talked about the financial details that you can that you should have, like your monthly income, your spouse monthly income, your rental income, any bonuses that you are assuming, then what increase that you are expecting every year, then household expenses, whatever expenses you are incurring. So it will give you the surplus. So if you see the calculation, inflow minus outflow is your surplus, 50,000. Then whatever real estate investment you have, whatever mutual funds you have taken, whatever stocks you have taken, then your liability. So if you are having any housing loan or any car loan, you can put the details over here in this sheet, and you can put the EMIs. Then the most important part of the sheet was the current investments that you are having. So I've listed down the various investment options that you might have: direct equity, mutual funds, FDs, recurring deposit, PPF, EPF, gold, cash in hand, cash at bank, international stocks or cryptocurrencies, then chit funds, NPS, Sukanya, LIC, and your spouse investments. So the amount invested, the current value, the return in rupees, it will calculate automatically. Then the return in percentages. So you can also track that whatever amount you have invested, but whether it is giving that much, that kind of returns or not. So if we talk about PPF and suppose 15 lakh value has grown to, let's suppose, 16 lakh 80,000. I change that amount, and you see that your return value also changes, your percentage also changes. So you can see, okay, if a return is earning, if your investment is earning 8% and your inflation is growing at 10%, then that return, that investment vehicle is not correct, or you should take some action on it. So this is how you can track your investments at one place. Similarly, I talked about the insurances also. So if you are having any insurance policies, whatever insurance policies you have taken, or your father or mother you had taken for you when you were minor. So 2-3 points that you should consider in these policies: whether do you have a nominee or not? Because in the last 2 years, I've seen many cases, the nominee is not updated, the nominee is not mentioned in the policy, and if something happens to the insured, then the LIC or any other insurer company is not able to remit the amount proceeds to the nominee because there is no nominee registered. And in some cases, also seen that in X policy, Y was the nominee, and they met with an accident, and now X is also not there and Y is not also there. So can anyone tell me what will happen in that particular case? अगर आपके नाम पे एक पॉलिसी है और आपने वाइफ को नॉमिनी किया है और एक एक्सीडेंट में दोनों ही नहीं रहते हैं, तो फिर उस पॉलिसी का क्या होता है? Anyone? You can unmute yourself and answer. Dependent. So Sakshi, can you elaborate on this dependent?
Sir, the policy amount will go to the dependent, the claim amount.
Who is dependent in that case? Like the child you want to say?
Yes, yes.
Although his name is not there in the nominees list, or he's not mentioned as a nominee, that if there are two dependents, then what will happen?
No, sir.
The insurer will divide the amount in 50-50 to both. Is it like that?
No.
See, I'll share a true incident with you all, that in case of one of our clients, what happened is the mother and the son, they both had insurance, and mother had done nominee of his son in the policy, and son has nominated her mother in a policy. And unfortunately, both had got infected by corona, and both of them expired, both died, and now the father is left alone. So do you think, or is it the case that the insurer will pay the amount to the father of the policies of both, or what will the father have to do to get the amount from the company, insurance company? Suppose the son is having a term insurance of 50 lakh rupees and the mother is having some other insurance of 10 lakh or whatever amount it may be. So will the amount flow to the father? Anyone? अगर नॉमिनी नहीं रहा तो नॉमिनी है, नॉमिनी नहीं है और इंश्योरर की भी डेथ हो जाती है, तो फिर क्या होता है? क्या वो कंपनी? हाँ, यस मैम।
सर अगर कोई विल बनी हुई है तो फिर एलआईसी देगा या इंश्योरेंस देगा, राइट? अदरवाइज कोर्ट से सारा सेटलमेंट होगा।
एग्जैक्टली। सो यस, लीगल हेयर, बलवंत जी ने लिखा है लीगल हेयर। So two three possibilities are there if there is a will, जैसा कि मैम ने भी बोला है कि अगर will होगी तो will में जो भी मेंशन है लीगल हेयर कौन है उसको पैसा मिलेगा। अगर मान लीजिए the insurer had died interstate, interstate का मतलब होता है कि बिना will लिखे उसकी डेथ हो गई और नॉमिनी भी नहीं रहा, तो फिर क्या होगा? That the case is very difficult. फिर क्या होगा? The person who is surviving or the legal heir, in the legal terms if we talk about, he will have to get a succession certificate from court, and that is a very cumbersome process because he will have to get the NOC from everyone. हर किसी से उसको NOC लेना पड़ेगा कि they do not claim any amount from this insurance policy, और वो NOC मिलने के बाद कोर्ट एक अपना ऑर्डर देगा और उसके बाद इंश्योरेंस कंपनी उसको पैसे देगी। So these are very small things in life that we miss sometimes, और बाद में हमें पता पड़ता है जब तक सब कुछ ठीक चल रहा है तो हम ध्यान नहीं देते हैं, बट जैसे ही कुछ गड़बड़ हो जाती है देन वी रियलाइज द इम्प्लीकेशंस के इसमें कितना प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है, क्या क्या इश्यूज हो सकते हैं। तो दिस इज फॉर दिस अवेयरनेस ओनली आई हैव प्लान्ड दिस वेबिनार कि इट इज अ संडे इवनिंग, और क्योंकि पीपल कैन टेक आउट टाइम, तो हम लोग थोड़ा सा ध्यान दें इन सब चीजों पे और let us be aware about all these things, and we should do a planning properly wherein you should check that all the policies that you have taken have a nominee, और अगर कोई नॉमिनी नहीं है तो उसको अपडेट कराएं। अगर आप माइनर थे और आपके पेरेंट्स ने आपके अगेंस्ट में कोई पॉलिसी ली और उसमें वो नॉमिनी है और अब आपकी मैरिज हो गई है, तो you should get your nominee changed to your wife, like that. Then again, another important aspect of your investment is that you should always link your investment with your goals, because जैसा कि हमने सुना है कि a dream without a plan is just a wish, मतलब हम सोचते बहुत कुछ, हम ये कर लेंगे वो कर लेंगे, लेकिन अगर हमारे पास उसके लिए कोई प्लान नहीं है तो जो भी हम सोच रहे हैं वो व्यर्थ है, उससे कुछ अचीव नहीं होना। बट इफ यू हैव अ प्लान एंड यू वर्क ऑन दैट प्लान एंड यू कैन ट्रैक दैट प्लान, देन यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड कि हाँ मैंने क्या सोचा था और मैं कहाँ तक अचीव कर पाया या मुझे कहाँ कितना और डिस्टेंस रह गया, कितना और मुझे आगे जाना है। So similarly, whenever we are doing any investments, we should have an idea about कि हम किसके लिए इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं, क्या गोल है, हम उससे क्या अचीव करना चाह रहे हैं, और जब तक हम उसको अचीव नहीं कर पा रहे हैं तो हमें उस गोल के साथ, गोल को हम चेंज नहीं कर सकते हैं। इफ यू हैव अ किड्स, यू विल नॉट कॉम्प्रोमाइज ऑन देयर एजुकेशन, आप उसको कहीं पे भी कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं करना चाहिए। अगर उनकी मैरिज करनी है तो आप मैरिज में अच्छे से मैरिज करना चाहेंगे, आप कहीं पे भी कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं करना चाहेंगे। इफ यू वांट टू गो फॉर अ हॉलिडे, यू मे पोस्टपोन दैट ट्रिप बट यू विल नेवर कैंसिल इट, ठीक है? तो उन सब चीजों के लिए तैयारी होनी चाहिए हमारे पास। वी शुड हैव एडिक्वेट इंश्योरेंस, वी शुड डू एडिक्वेट इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, एंड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज दैट whatever you are investing, whatever you are planning, you should have a track of all this. And in today's digital world, पहले के लोग होते थे, like when I see my father and my grandfather, they keep a track of record in the registers and all papers work and all, they have a whole bag of things, ठीक है, फाइल्स होती हैं उनके पास। but when we are in the digital era, we should take the help of digital equipments and apps। बहुत सारे ऐप ऐसे हैं जिसमें आप ट्रैक कर सकते हो, like IndMoney is one app देन वही खाता एक ऐसी चीज होती है जहाँ पे आप अपने एक्सपेंसेस को रिकॉर्ड कर सकते हो, ठीक है. Cred is an application where you can track your credit card expenses. Now the young generation is spending so much money on the credit cards, through credit cards, but जब बिल आता है तब हम रियलाइज करते हैं कि दिस वाज नॉट द नीड, ठीक है, ये एक डिजायर था, ये मेरी वांट थी, मेरी जरूरत नहीं थी, तो इतना मैंने खर्च कर दिया. But if you keep a track of all your expenses and you review them weekly or a monthly basis, then you understand what was required, what was not required, what I could have avoided, and how I can better keep a track record of my expenses. So I think this sheet will help you all. And once we are done with this webinar, you all will sit together with your spouse. See, one more thing I want to talk about is that in Indian culture, we do not have a system where we discuss financial aspects with our spouse. But in the last 2 eras, it has been seen that people don't discuss their financial things with their spouse, and unfortunately, when they lose their life, the spouse and the kids, they don't know कि पापा ने कहाँ का इन्वेस्ट कर रखा है, या उनके पास क्या क्या पॉलिसीज हैं, या उनकी एफडी कहाँ का करा रखी है, उन्होंने कहाँ का अपना डीमैट अकाउंट खोल रखा है, या शेयर्स हैं उनके पास, या म्यूचुअल फंड है, फिर उसमें नॉमिनी है या नहीं है. तो बहुत सारे हैसल्स आप छोड़ के जाते हो जब आप जाते हो. तो you the emotional loss is there, which is which no one can surpass. उसको तो हम कभी भी compensate कर ही नहीं सकते financially. Then you leave a financial burden also. अगर किसी ने लोन ले रखा था और उसके अगेंस्ट में कोई सिक्योरिटी नहीं है और डेथ हो जाती है, तो इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर द फैमिली मेंबर्स टू पे ऑफ दैट ईएमआईज. दूसरा ये है कि अगर आपने प्रॉपर इंश्योरेंस, एडिक्वेट इंश्योरेंस नहीं ले रखा है, तो आपके फैमिली मेंबर्स को लॉस होता है. इफ यू डू नॉट हैव प्रॉपर इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, और इवन इफ यू आर हैविंग इन्वेस्टमेंट बट योर फैमिली मेंबर्स आर नॉट अवेयर ऑफ दोस इन्वेस्टमेंट, then it becomes a very difficult task. So what, as a responsible citizen or a responsible person, I should do? So if you're attending this webinar, that means you're serious about your investments, ठीक है, and you're looking for a way out. तो यहाँ पर मैं इसकी Excel आपके साथ शेयर करूंगा. I would request everyone to share their mail IDs once again on the chat box, so I can mail you this sheet and you can use that. Then Sakshi has sent a message within convert per month saving required for achieving our goals, and then based on the yes, exactly. So I'll share one more thing over here with everyone, that there is a rule which is called as 50-30-20 principle. It is a financial rule. Has anyone heard about this rule? किसी ने सुना है इसके बारे में, कहीं पढ़ा है, सुना है?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. So yes, Sakshi, so can you just explain us what is this rule about 50-30-20? Or let me just summarize it, because we are just on the verge of completing this. So suppose your income is 100 rupees, then as per this rule, 50% of your income you should keep for your expenses, which are unavoidable. That means your household expenses or EMIs. Then 20% fund you should keep for your emergency. That means you should save 20% of the expenses. And now what remains is 30%. So 30% you should do investment. You should invest for your future. So this is a very small principle, but it is very effective, that if you are earning 100 rupees, then out of 100 rupees, 50%, 50 रुपए आप खर्चों के लिए रख लीजिए. 20 रुपए जो बचते हैं आपके, वो आप इमरजेंसी के रखिए. That means you should keep that intact in your bank account or any scheme which you can liquidate easily. And this is the important part, that 30% of your money you should invest for your future. ठीक है, एंड दिस इज अ थंब रूल. बट जनरली होता क्या है कि अगर मान लीजिए किसी का एक्सपेंस ही ज्यादा है, कोई बोलता है सर मैं 100 रुपीज अर्न करता हूँ and I am spending almost 70 to 80 rupees, I am hardly left with any saving, then what should I do in that particular case? Then there are two possible answers to it. So I am taking a situation where suppose someone expense is 80%, he's having some loans and he is living in a rented apartment, and he has having kids also, and he's like not, his income, wife is not earning, so it's like single income and double expenses. So in that particular case, what will happen? You are left with only 20 rupees. Now out of that 20 rupees, I must say that 10% you should save and 10% you should invest. ठीक है, investment is necessary, बहुत जरूरी है, आपको invest तो करना ही चाहिए. And what I must say is that 80% को हम reduce करके, if we can reduce this to 70 or 60, then we can increase that amount to 15 or 20. Similarly here also. It is running into date format. Let me just. So this is basically a thumb rule, which says that if you have 100 rupees, then 50% you should keep for expenses, and whatever amount is left with, you can spend it out. Okay. Now again, some people might be looking at the different options of investing. Like if I say that 30% you should invest, then what are the various options that you can explore? Can anyone just guide us? अभी आप लोग कैसे invest कर रहे हैं particularly? I'll be sharing this sheet. I'm just stopping the screen share for some time, and now we are keeping a live interactive session where you can all participate and you can share your experiences about investments and tracking your finances, how you have been tracking your finances and where you have invested your money so far. So Manav says mutual fund and PPF. Yes. So PPF is a good investment vehicle where you get a fixed rate of return, and it is a guaranteed rate of return that you are getting 7%. And whatever amount you get on maturity that is totally tax free, and you get a rebate in ATC also. Yes, LIC. Now, has anyone heard about this word? I have written something. NPS is also a good option. HLB. आपने HLB सुना है किसी सबने? No.
Yes.
Okay. So HLV is human life value. Life value. So whenever we are buying any insurance, how do we buy insurance? So when we buy insurance, some agent approaches us और बोलते हैं सर एक पॉलिसी ले लो, ये अच्छी पॉलिसी है, इसका फीचर है, ठीक है, और हम लोग कभी भी इनिशिएट नहीं करते हैं प्रोसेस. So that is what I have seen generally. ठीक है, कि हम कभी भी खुद से नहीं खरीदते इंश्योरेंस, हमें बेचा जाता है और ऐसे ही बोल के बेचा जाता है कि यार ये तो पॉलिसी कर दी किसी ने, ठीक है. और वी माइट टेक अ टर्म इंश्योरेंस. नाउ द पीपल आर टेकिंग टर्म इंश्योरेंस, बट लेट मी आस्क यू वन क्वेश्चन. डज टर्म इंश्योरेंस हैज एनी वैल्यू, एनी लाइफ वैल्यू? आपको मैच्योरिटी कोई होती है टर्म इंश्योरेंस में? और अगर मैच्योरिटी होती है तो मैच्योरिटी पे कुछ सम अश्योर्ड मिलता है, हमारे को कुछ पैसा मिलता है, इन्वेस्टमेंट की वैल्यू मिलती है, जितना भी हम प्रीमियम पे कर रहे हैं ओवर द इयर्स. डू वी गेट एनीथिंग इन रिटर्न फ्रॉम दैट टर्म इंश्योरेंस? एंड द आंसर इज नो. Then we should always consider, look at from this point of view, if I'm taking a term insurance of 50 lakh rupees or 1 crore rupees, और मुझे लगता है कि हाँ आज मेरी एज 30 है या 35 है या 40 है, and I'm taking a term insurance of let's say next for 30 years or 40 years, that means my life, my risk, I'm having a risk score of 50 lakhs or 1 crore till age 70 or 75. And if something happens to me in between that term, my family will get the amount, a lump sum amount, good amount of money, and I'm hardly have to pay anything, 10,000, between 10,000 and 15,000 over the years. तो ये सोच के हम क्या करते हैं, हम एक टर्म इंश्योरेंस ले लेते हैं और हमें लगता है कि इंश्योरेंस का कोटा कंप्लीट हो गया, हमें अब कोई और इंश्योरेंस बाय करने की जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज आई हैव अ टर्म प्लान. ग्रेट, बहुत सही सोच रहे हैं. लेकिन मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है यहाँ पर सभी से. There are almost 8 to 10 participants in this meeting. So if I survive, if nothing happens to me, then what happens to the premium that I've paid to the company? And what do I get in return if nothing happens to me? You can reply in the chat box, nothing. So if nothing happens to you, that means you get nothing. Okay. Yes, it is a cost of life. So you're not looking for getting any return out of that premium that you are paying. So many people when they buy insurance, वो क्या करते हैं, वो कंपेयर करते हैं उसको इन्वेस्टमेंट रिटर्न से कि क्या परसेंट रिटर्न मिलेगा. ठीक है, तो टर्म इंश्योरेंस में द रिटर्न इज 0, बट इफ समथिंग हैपेंस टू यू and when you compare the amount of premium that you have paid and the money that you are getting in return, that is uncomparable. आपने पूरे 30 इयर्स के टेन्योर में कुछ 5-7 लाख रुपए की प्रीमियम भरी होगी और आपको 50 लाख रुपए मिल रहे हैं. बट कॉन्ट्रेरी अगर अपन देखें और अगर हमको कुछ भी नहीं होता तो जो भी हमने प्रीमियम पे करी है उसका अमाउंट 0 हो जाता है. वी डू नॉट गेट एनीथिंग इन रिटर्न. So what I want to convey here is that apart from having a term insurance, you should always have some policies which gives you some maturity value also, and which keeps you insured. So I'm not selling an insurance here. I'm just selling a concept. I'm just guiding you on how you can design your financial life or your financial product, wherein with term plan, you are having some insurance which gives some amount on maturity. So whatever amount you are investing as a premium, that is giving you some return plus risk cover. Secondly, whatever amount is left, जो भी हमारा 30% की हम बात कर रहे थे, उसे कैसे इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए. तो many people are saying कि हम पीपीएफ में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, म्यूचुअल फंड में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, हम एनपीएस में डालते हैं. So what should be the ratio of investment in all these vehicles and how you should invest? So whatever amount is left with you, uska 30 to 40% should be invested in the secured securities. Let's say FD, or you can say PPF or NPS, because these are secured because government backed हैं. But जब हम FD की बात करते हैं तो FD में security कितनी है? Can anyone tell me? Suppose I do a FD of 10 lakh in the bank, and next day the bank becomes bankrupt. Bank में चोरी हो जाती है, let's say. So can I claim that 10 lakh rupees from the bank? Manav says 5 lakh. 5 lakh. So how you arrived at 5 lakh rupees? How come 5 lakh? Is it 50% of the amount invested? That is how you're calculating 5 lakh? Bank gives insurance for 5 lakh. Okay. So if someone has, okay, maximum guarantee given by government, that is RBI, is 5 lakh. So that means if someone has done a FD of 50 lakhs, then the bank is bound to give only 5 lakhs. Is it so? तो हम कैसे कह सकते हैं कि हमारा इन्वेस्टमेंट सिक्योर है? दूसरा पॉइंट, सेकंड पॉइंट, the bank FD is giving me a return of 5% or maybe less than that. And when I talk about post-tax returns, the return is also minimized to the extent of the tax that I have to pay, because the interest is bearing some tax implications also. So is it wiser to invest in FDs in nowadays? Because that is not a good option, guys, because you're not getting the return that could beat inflation. So FD is out of the box. So no one should do an FD with the bank. So what is the alternative? The good alternative is to invest in good company stock if you are a direct investor in stock market. But you should have a complete knowledge and you should be able to track your investment, and you should have the potential to take that kind of risk. Then only you should go to that option. And if you are not able to track your investment or you manage your portfolio, and you don't have that appetite for risk, then the next best option is mutual funds, because mutual fund doesn't guarantee you any fixed interest, but over the years it has seen that the mutual fund had given almost double returns than your bank FDs or any other secured financial instrument. And mutual funds are governed by SEBI guidelines, so no company can do any fault. So we can be sure of that. Then NPS is also a good option, because NPS is ultimately investing in the stock market, but you have different options to choose from, whether you want to go for an aggressive fund or a moderate fund or a conservative fund. We can select that. we can select the AMC also, okay, that company which is going to manage our investment. And the beauty about NPS is that the amount, whatever you're investing, you can withdraw only at the age 60. So what generally happens is when we invest any money and when we see the growth, तो हम क्या करते हैं, पैसा निकाल लेते हैं. ऐसा होता है या नहीं होता? आईपीओ में लगाया और डबल पैसा मिल रहा है, आप क्या करते हो? You sell that money, you sell the those shares, and you take out that money and you spend that money somewhere else because that is what you have earned, isn't it? तो उससे कभी भी ऐसे करने से क्या wealth create हो सकती है? Can you accumulate a good amount of money over the years? And the answer is no. Balwant has given the answer no, and that is correct. So NPS is one vehicle which doesn't give you the chance to withdraw money. And when you're bound by something or some rules and regulations that you cannot withdraw money, either you will not put that money, or if you put that money, you will be rest assured that ये तो मेरे retirement का purpose है और ये मुझे retirement में ही use में लेना है. So whenever you are putting that money in NPS, you are sure that at 60 ka age, I'll be able to withdraw 60%, at 40% I'll be able to buy an annuity. Okay, so that is also a good investment vehicle. When we talk about, and the most important thing that I wanted to convey as a message to all is that health insurance. Now, when I talk to people on insurance and when they are working, if someone dies, invested in, yes, exactly. So if someone dies, then the nominee will get the amount that is accumulated in NPS. The nominee will get the amount. That is the case in every instrument. That if something happens to the person who was investing in some instrument and he's not there, then definitely the nominee will get the amount. But you have to make sure that the nominee's name is registered. And now every institutions and all the products have made it very necessary to have the KYC of the investor done and the nominee also. So without nominating anyone, you cannot do any investment. So that is already taken care of. Now I was talking about insurance. When you talk about health insurance, so generally क्या होता है कि I have an insurance policy to my employer, and मेरा जो employer है वो मुझे already risk cover दे रहा है. उसने मेरा ग्रिप इंश्योरेंस करा रखा है. Some of my salary goes to that particular part. So why should I take another health insurance? And why should I not put my money somewhere else and earn return on it? And why should I buy an insurance policy separately? So I have two opinions on it. Number one, first of all, when you look from the taxation point of view, you get a rebate, additional rebate apart from your 1,50,000 in ETC. In ATD, you get up to 25,000. And if you invest for your senior citizen parents, then you get up to 50,000. So that is one aspect that you can save on taxes. Second thing, nowadays, because of COVID and because of uncertainty and because of growth aspects and prospects, people don't stick to a particular company over the years. Recently, there was a name in the news, Parag Agarwal. Have you heard about this name in the newspapers in the last 2-3 days? He's a person who belonged to, he's caught up in, he's belonged to Ajmer, and he has been appointed as CEO of Twitter recently. So another Indian who has got on the news from India. And if you see his career profile, he has switched many jobs over the years. बहुत सारी jobs उन्होंने change करी हैं. So whenever you switch any job, then all the benefits that you were getting from the previous company, they get stopped. तो जो भी आपने प्रीमियम भरा है, उसका आपको कोई benefit नहीं मिलेगा. And if you're not working, unfortunately, suppose you're working in a company and then you realize that I have to do my own business or I want to start up, then you do not have any insurance policy at that particular time. And when your age turns 40 or 40 plus, then the premium also increases. And secondly, you might get some diseases also, or you might put on some weight, and the insurance company may deny your policy or will charge you extra. So it is my opinion to everyone that apart from your company's insurance, you should have a separate medical policy which covers you, your wife, and your kids. And then you can decide whenever a claim comes, you have two options. You can decide which policy, which amount, where the amount to take from. Either your employer can pay off, or you can claim the amount from your insurance company. and there is no capping also in this policy. So we are not discussing the health insurance, but this is one point that I wanted to highlight you. Now there is one question from Manav, and he says that I have mutual fund in my and my wife's name joint account. Can I make a minor as a nominee? So a minor cannot be appointed as a nominee, but if you appoint a minor as a nominee, then you have to have a assignee also. So if you are having a nominee, you are having your mutual fund in your name and your wife name as a joint holder, then you can nominate either your parents or maybe your wife parent, or if they are not there or they are of old age, then you cannot nominate your kids, because then you have to appoint an assignee for that. So generally it is seen that the husband has a nominee as a wife and wife has a nominee as a husband. So that is the normal tendency of the people over there, and that is the scene. ऐसा ही होता है. But you can appoint someone from your family as a nominee apart from your wife. But फिर पैसा उनके पास जाएगा if both of you are not there. So if you don't mind that, then you can have, or if you want to appoint your minor, then you should have appoint a guardian for that case. In that case. Okay, so any other question anyone has? Okay, I would like to know how you got connected to this webinar, because I had shared the invite over so many platforms. So Manav and Balwant, can you just, and everyone can just reply in the chat box how you get the information about this webinar, because now we will be doing the webinars on every Sunday on different topics. So I would like to have a feedback from all of you, and our team has noted down your mail IDs, so we will mail the Excel sheet to you all today itself, so that you can sit back and work on your this thing. And whenever we do any next webinar, we'll share the links for the subsequent webinars also to you all. Okay, Manav, you want to say?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Okay, in the Excel sheet you have shown, you have told to enter the, how much is the invested and what is the current value.
Right, right.
So how we captured that in case of LIC? Because now LIC will get matured after 60, I'll be getting the money. Okay.
Right.
How do I enter what is the current value? And same is the case with SIPs.
Okay. Okay, so let me answer the question first. What's LIC? So if you have taken a policy for, let's say, 20, 30 years, and it will get matured at when you turn 60, then you know the maturity value of the policy at the age 60. You can enter that value. Or if you want to find out the exact value today, if you discontinue the policy, then you can ask LIC. You can go to any branch of LIC, or you can even go visit the LIC website, and you can find out the surrender value of that particular policy. So what happens is, when you buy an insurance policy, LIC keeps on adding some bonus to it every month, every year, and that policy has some value over the years. So you can find out, you can ask someone to give you the surrender value of the policy, and you can put that amount in the Excel sheet. But in case of LIC, since either you will get the amount on maturity or on death, so you cannot be sure of the amount that you are getting. Like, it will not be useful as such. But yes, if you want to find out the current value, you can take out the surrender value, and that can be easily available. And if you want me to do it, you can share the details to me on my WhatsApp number. I'm just sharing my number in the chat box. You can send me the policy detail. I'll get back to you on the amount that you can get. Similarly, in case of SIPs, so may I know how you invested in SIP, like direct or regular investment you have done?
Direct mode.
Direct mode. So now there are two possibilities. If you've done through any apps, then the apps will show you the correct value. Secondly, you can you get a monthly statement from CAMS, that is called CAS, Consolidated Account Statement, and on that CAS you get the value of the investments, and your whatever holding is there you can do. Secondly, there is a new facility which has started by the MFI, and that is a website that I'm sharing in the chat box. That is mfcentral.in .com. Sorry, you can visit this website and you can register yourself by putting your PAN number and your mobile number, and there also you can see all your investment at one place and the value. So that is also a way to track your SIP.
Okay, like I have one more question.
Yes.
Like from retirement point of view, that okay, I think Jeevan Umang is best one when it comes to retirement point of view.
Right.
What is your view on that?
Okay. So okay, Jeevan Umang is a very good policy, I must say, and it is basically a pension plan. So for the benefit of all, like everyone can listen to this because it is important, and I'll just tell you the features of Jeevan Umang. So it is a plan which covers the whole life. It is a whole life plan. That means you do not have any maturity. Your risk cover is till the till your death. So it gives you a whole life risk cover, and you can select from the term of 50, 20, 25 or 30. So you can
9 बजे कल की भेजना है, 9 बजे जाएंगे, 7 को 9 बजे क्या हुआ तो डेली करना है। हाँ
okay, may I request everyone to please
तो जाते समय जल्दी कब दे रही है क्या ठीक है।
Okay. So Jeevan Umang is a policy which is a pension plan. So you can take a term of 15 years or 20 years or 25 years, 30 years. So let us take an example. If someone is 30 years old and he's taking a policy of 15 years, so he'll pay the premium for next 15 years till the age 45. And after he turns 46, from 46 years till he's alive, he starts getting the premium back, the amount back as what he has paid as a premium. And that is a guaranteed 8% that is get on the sum assured. So suppose someone is taking a policy of 10 lakhs, then he gets 80,000 every year from the end of the tenure of the policy. If the tenure is 15 years, then from 16 years onwards till he's alive, he gets every year he starts getting 80,000. And the sum assured also keeps on increasing every year. So you have taken a policy of 10 lakhs, LIC keeps on adding the bonus, and that amount grows to almost say 40 to 50,000 after 15-20 years. And whenever you are no more, the nominee will get a good amount or lump sum amount on maturity. So this is how Jeevan Umang works.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, any other question? If someone wants to talk on anything, or they have any doubt and they want to clear, we can have some few questions also before the session.
Yeah, just one more question. Like I have some policies of LIC in the past. Okay. So like after paying premium for 10 years or 12 years, like is a wise decision to surrender those policies? Like that depends upon policy to policy, or how can that be done?
See, first of all, that you need to check out the policy you are taking, how many years you have paid the amount, and what is the maturity benefit that you are getting. So there cannot be any thumb rule or one way decision for each policy. It has to be a customized decision based on the details of the policy that you have taken. So you should consult someone or an advisor, or when I can help you out of this session, you can reach out to me personally for this. But you should not take a universal decision on your LIC policies. It is a customized thing, and every policy you have to check out, like what is the amount of premium that you have paid. If you surrender it today, what value are you getting? If you're getting very less, then it is better to continue. But if you think that if I pay so much of premium and what I'm not getting anything, a good amount and maturity, and the risk score is also not that great, then you might think of discontinuing this policy and reinvest the amount which you are investing in this particular policy to some other policy. So that decision you can take based on the details of each policy. Okay. So thank you all for joining this session, and I hope it was a useful session for everyone, and I could do justice with your Sunday time that you had given to me, because Sunday everyone would like to relax and enjoy, but you all had taken out time and joined this session. So I believe that you find this session useful to you, and definitely once you get the sheet and when you start filling your information, that would help you in planning your finances well and organizing your finances well. And we have noted your details. Yes, Banan. Okay, so thank you all for joining in, and we have noted down your details. Manan, you want to add something?
No, I already asked the question. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So thank a lot everyone for joining in, and next Sunday also we'll come up with some more sessions on some interesting topics like this, and I'll share that Excel sheet with all of you on your mail ID. So thanks for joining in. Thank you.